Hi everybody, my name is James Chase and welcome to Chase Distillery. I'd first very much like to thank Nicholas Cook from the Gin Guild for putting on these virtual events this year. We at Chase are so proud to be a part of the Gin Guild and all of it does for the industry. So we are at Chase Distillery and today I'm here to talk about the Seltzer category and more particularly why Chase has decided to play in that industry. It's seen monumental growth, with last year sales at around $1.7 billion. This year expected to come in at 3.5, and they're even predicting by 2027 the total market will be around $15 billion, which is huge. We didn't go into the category for that reason. Recently, albeit right up until February this year, I was living in the United States, based out of Chicago, driving our distribution over there. I saw the absolute rise firsthand of this seltzer industry, and it really took my inspiration. Don't get me wrong, I love a gin and tonic, but more often than not, when I'm visiting lots of bars around the world, I'll always try to choose my gins or my spirits with soda water, because I really want that spirit to sing. And here at Chase, we've worked so hard to put flavour and taste in the spirits and everything that we do. And seltzers really lend themselves to that. And we're going to show you a little bit why we went into them firsthand. But since we're here at Chase, I just wanted to give you a quick virtual tour of our distillery. And then we're going to really drill down into to the seltzer category and why I think our seltzers are so unique. So this is Chase. We were set up in 2008 by my father, William Chase, who most people describe as a fourth generation maverick potato farmer. And I grew up about 20 miles north of here in a beautiful farm called Tyrrell's Court. Struggled to make a living through the 90s. So in the early noughties, we decided to really diverse and we built a crisp factory. And that crisp factory went on to become Tyrrell's Crisps. But in around 2006, the business afforded us to travel all around the world, quite like I was away recently. And over there we saw the rise of craft distilling and people talking about taste and provenance, with these new rise of craft distillers happening in America because the government had pulled down the jurisdiction, as opposed to people talking about celebrity and bottle. And we got inspired and we came back to England, and around 2007 we realized that there were very few distilleries churning out most of the spirit, particularly gin brands on the market. Doing very well, but we thought there was real innovation from a farmer's perspective to talk about field to bottle and things that we hold dear to our heart as our family. And Dad loves to move fast, and in 2008 we managed to gain a rectification license for Chase, which is still very unique. And everything we do here is champion field to bottle spirits, using those potatoes that were originally too small to make Tyrrell's potato chips, or too small to feed to our cows, which I can just see some in the glimpse of my eye over here. So this is Herefordshire. This is our site, Chase Farm. It's a beautiful farm with potato fields in the distance. They'll get turned into our base spirit in October. Lydia's just going to show you to the left. We've got the Black Mountains. You can just about see Wales. And then over to the right, we've got the incredible Malvern Hills. So we're based in the middle of nowhere, and when we started Chase, it was really a struggle to sell to our local community. Not many cocktail bars around here, but we stuck to it, and we decided to crack on with our Chase Potato Vodka in 2008. And then a couple of years later, we released our GB gin, which is the flagship gin that we make. And the thing that makes Chase incredibly unique to this day is the fact that we make it from field to bottle. And that's so important, particularly when you're looking at other products that come to the market. This building has incredible history. When we took it on originally, it was going to be used to expand Tyrrell's in, but we soon found that this building had amazing character and characteristics. It used to be an old hop drying kiln. Back in the pre-ag days, the farmers were given quite a bit of money from governments after the war to get farming again, and part of it still is a great testing site for farming, which my brother has now carried on the mantle of being the farmer. See some lovely pictures here, but I love this one the most a chap driving a thresher wearing a tie, which is absolutely extraordinary. I'm sure the health and safety police wouldn't really agree with that too much today. So this is Chase, this amazing sense of history in place here. You can see where my dad soon first looked at this building to see why it'd be so interesting to make some spirits from. The far wall, you can just see fermentation, where we get those very potatoes in, and we ferment on site. And then we draw them through to our two stills, Fat Betty, which is our copper pot still. And in the distance, just above Ed, you've got Maximus, which is our rectification column. So tall, she goes right through the roof of the distillery. So we have an amazing range of spirits here at Chase. Our Chase Potato Vodka is our original. You could say it's almost our Burberry trench coat. But then we really are known as a gin brand. 85% of Chase's sales are gin. And to this day, we've developed an amazing dry gin. But we really excel in flavoured gins as well. And we'll go on to our flavours that are used in the seltzers in a minute. But the flavours really enhance all of the spirits that we make. And it's a really important fact at Chase to know that they're proper distillates. We're not simply flavour merchants and adding flavourings, and everything is distilled right from the heart, right through all of our stills here. It takes a lot of work, and everything is even bottled here on site as well. But we believe it's that hard work and passion that really makes our spirits so unique. We've won so many great awards, which has been lovely to see, and since we started, and the likes of, say, Sipsmith, a year or two later than us, and the rise of then craft distillers really excelling out of this. And I hear only a couple of years ago that over 200 gin brands were registered in 1 year alone. So the rise of gin is ever prolific, and it's something that we as a family and as a team really love doing. I see a lovely picture here actually of me, my dad, and brother in those fields just out the front. So innovation has really been incredibly important to Chase. We've constantly had to innovate to create noise with a very small marketing budget. Since our early days in 2008, we've had to go out there and really educate, and that's almost been at the forefront of speaking to cocktail bartenders, but learning on the front line. And there have been a few mistakes along the way, a few spirits that probably haven't quite worked. I remember a bartender coming once and recommended that we'd had too many nettles and things on the farm, so we ended up creating a nettle vodka. But innovation really has allowed us to gain share of mind and share of voice. I remember when the Savoy opened, we made a horseradish vodka that was delicious in a Bloody Mary. But we've constantly had to do that, and the race of new brands coming to market has been incredible. And being an independent family distillery, this innovation has really pushed us on. And that really leads us up to the seltzer category. We have seen an amazing shift now in society over the last couple of years where the knowledge of craft and of distillation has really excelled through the roof. Our spirit stills were from a family-run company called Christy & Carl, and when we visited them, we were amazed by how much knowledge in distillation with consumers was happening in Europe. It's still very, very little was happening here in the UK. And I remember going to trade shows and consumer shows, and I would be behind the bar, and I remember in the early days, consumers would be scooping out the ice with their hands because they wanted to taste the gin coming through. So it's extraordinary how far that we've come, and I love to say that it's a great saying that ships rise with the tide, and because there's been so many new craft distilleries, particularly gin distilleries opening up, the education has really soared. So because we've had this education, we've developed our sense, and now most bars will have a great selection of gins behind them, and also with that, a great selection of tonic waters. Now here's my first point in why I think the seltzer market is really interesting. Is if you look into what makes up tonic, there really is a high proportion of sugar to the bottle. And a lot of craft distillers, I believe, have worked so hard to make their spirits so meticulous. By the time they maybe pour in a gin and tonic, do you actually understand or appreciate the taste of that gin that you've worked so hard to create? I mentioned at the beginning, I love a gin and tonic, like the rest of us, but for me, after visiting quite a few cocktail bars and visiting quite a few restaurants around the world, I was, over the last few years particularly, getting a more sense that people are living a more active lifestyle and they are particularly then really conscious about the calorie intake and what they want to do. So anyway, when I was in America, that really started to hit home, and I was going around there, and tonic water really wasn't as big as it was here in the UK. And I was really looking into that. You know, a lot of spirit mixers served at the bars. One particular soda brand I saw down in Texas called Topo Chico, where they say, the bartenders used to say, there's so much carbonation in here, it's like going pound for pound with Anthony Joshua in your tonsils. It was incredible, and it really got me thinking that craft spirits were so good in their own right. Why was the mixer taking all that flavour away from them? And some particular tonic brands have done incredibly well, but I saw a huge inspiration spot there. So when I was over in Chicago, of course I saw the rise of one particular brand, White Claw. And White Claw led a huge growth in sales, almost pioneering the seltzer category a couple of years back. So what is a seltzer? Well, a seltzer, quite simply, is fizzy water with an alcohol base. And a lot of those American brands will use a fermented alcohol to try and look into the tax implications a little bit more onto that. But that really is a hard seltzer. Hard being the alcohol and seltzer being the fizzy water. They tend to be 5% or lower and tend to be around the 100 calories or less. And the main thing is that they're in a can format. A can because we now lead a more on-the-go lifestyle, but they're also super handy for our next generation of millennials, Gen Z, who are leading a more social media-led active lifestyle. So luckily enough, when I was away in America, Dad was building a canning facility here on the farm. And Lydia's just going to quickly pan the camera around and show you that top navy blue shed at the top, where we've put in our canning line, and we're also making a few no and low products. One being a new brand that we've recently released, which is Willie's apple cider vinegar with the mother. That's for another day. But that there is our true innovation, and we've got a canning line, which for us is fantastic, and it's helped us speed across this innovation. So I came back from America post-lockdown, back living home, which was a blessing and a curse. But I was desperate to innovate and to keep the learnings that I'd learned out in America coming through here. So as I came back to Chicago, I saw the health and wellness movement really excel itself. Brands like Lululemon were on fire, spinning cycle gyms were opening up like Soul Cycle and Dig Me, and I thought there was a huge opportunity here to release Chase in a can format of the drink that I love. And because we had the canning line, we were able to initiate literally this within a couple of months. All the design was done here on site. We've adapted the brand logo slightly. Big reference to this is if you look at a beer brand like Budweiser and Bud Light, I believe that the brand itself is Chase, but we can extend it in a new logo and a new theme that reflects a slightly softer audience that we're trying to target. Seltzer's really interestingly, although I am holding a can here, in America, Nielsen have shown that it's 50-50 male-female that are drinking hard seltzers, which is just extraordinary where you've given the demographics that certain people would think. So the demographic is really split. And because the lower alcohol level at 5% compared to a slightly higher one, and of course the real low sugar level, these are really a sessionable drink. And one funny story, when I was out in America and just moved out there, I couldn't believe there was the amount of guys and girls drinking these hard seltzers around a pool during the day. And I was often like quizzing them, why are you drinking some of these seltzers? And a lot of them were talking about the low sugar and the fact that they were sessionable because they weren't fermented beers. So that really is the seltzer market. It's amazing how much it's grown. And I'm in love. This is how I drink my gins and how I love to taste my spirits. So we introduced 3 flavors when we decided to get going. And we really were fortunate the fact that we had water from our very own farm. We're not far from the Malvern Hills, so we've got an amazing water source. And we also make the gin on site. The distillers make our 3 gins that we decided to blend in with the seltzers. So the one I'm holding in my hand is our pink grapefruit pomelo. Really almost one of the leaders in the pink gin revolution, which is fantastic. We've got our Seville orange, which is gorgeous. you get this amazing mandarin almost explosion. And then last but not least, our London Dry and Lemon. GB Gin technically being a London Dry gin, we're just not in London, but it's absolutely fantastic. And all of our seltzers now are gaining more distribution. For starters, they're just in this wrap that you can see that goes around them. But we are then introducing a screen print can with a national listing to come. And it's been an extraordinary journey. The reception has been fantastic. We're at about 70 independent customers, and I really do see the trend continuing into the future. There's a lot of competition now that's entered the UK market. I think Copperberg is one of the leaders in the segment, albeit sales are at a very low base. We are seeing double-digit growth in the category, so there is a definite demand. White Claw has also made a play here, and we've also had over, I think, 100 other seltzer brands enter the market, which is just extraordinary. Other seltzer brands that I think are doing a great job. There's another company called Serve that are doing a lovely job, and it's great to see so many players, because, as I mentioned before, ships rise with the tide. So to have these other seltzers in the industry really elevates the pitch and really gets people drinking. We've had an interesting summer. It's been a whirlwind, but hopefully summertime these really will take off. There's a lot of questions that seasonality, we're not the same as America. Chicago experiences beautiful days from almost March right through August, whereas our weathers can be very temperamental, and the fact that seltzers are an on-the-go outdoor environment, there's questions of will they expand throughout Christmas, and we still don't know. What I do know is that cans are becoming more sustainable. A can is put back into the system for recycling within 6 months. It's easily refrigerated, and it's very hygienic. So if you think about everything that we're going through now, I do think there'll be a place in the on-premise for seltzers too. If you look at slightly bronze and silver accounts, I can very much see these going into some premium pub chains where they want a speedy service, a great tasting drink, and a lovely story to talk about. That's our thing, I think, where we want to really set the benchmark with chasers, is the fact that these are made with great quality ingredients that have been made from scratch right here on our family farm. If you look at some of those market leaders in America, they're really unknown in terms of their alcohol, the crop, the GMO status of the crop. And if you look forward now, the big trend in the planet, and thanks to the likes of the works of Sir David Attenborough, that the environment and sustainability is so key. And that's something here at Chase that means so much to us, even from our energy sourcing, our biomass energy, right through our ethics as a business. So I'm super excited about the seltzer category. I'm super proud almost to be innovating it with gin, a category that has really helped us as a family, and I see no signs of the gin boom slowing down. And I'm really interested to see your guys' views of what you think of this new, interesting seltzer category. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm a shame you couldn't be here personally, but it's so lovely. And if you've got any questions, please just drop me an email at james@chasedistillery.co.uk. I'd love to talk to you, or drop me a message on social media. But once again, thank you so much to Nicholas and the team at the Gin Guild. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Cheers.